The courtroom opens with tension already in the air. The defense and prosecution are both ready, but it's clear this won't be an ordinary hearing. The judge takes her seat as everyone rises, setting a tone of control and precision. What unfolds next is a case balancing truth, timing, and testimony. One misstep could change everything. Every look, pause, and objection will matter here. And as the first statements begin, you can feel it. This isn't just another day in court. It's about to get personal.
Ms. Plumhoff is here for sentencing. Prosecution and defense, was the pre-sentence investigation report finally made available to you?
It was, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Shepard, have you had the opportunity to read the report and discuss it with Ms. Plumhoff?
I have, as co-counsel, Mr. Swanson, we did meet with Ms. Plumhoff, and I did speak with her a couple of different times about it. We have no additions or corrections that I'm aware of, Judge.
All right, is there anything that you want the court to consider?
Yeah, so I've read the recommendation. I think the recommendation is spot on, Judge. I think that it's considerate not only of the circumstances which led to this, but also of the person who is the byproduct of where we're at today. And talking to Jen, you know, I think I would appreciate the court looking at the person who made that decision in that moment. I think that's important. I think you always have to do that. But I also think it's important in this case to think of and consider the person who sits before you today. In that regard, I asked her, and I said, you know, if you could do this over, you know, sometimes this is a dangerous question, but if you could do this over, would you do the same thing? And she says, well, I don't want to say that because it doesn't seem like I'm, you know, sorry about what I did. But at the same time, I probably wouldn't have done some of the things that I'm doing now. This recommendation, Judge, was littered with letters of support. I'm quite certain the court's had a chance to read and review those. I can tell you that in my dealings with Jen, I see a remorseful person. I see someone who has always taken responsibility from the sentencing forward. I think that that is indicative of this recommendation that is in this pre-sentence investigation report as well.
As the attorneys start presenting, we see how the narrative splits. One side insists their client acted in good faith. The other says it's all manipulation. The judge watches closely, scribbling notes, testing every claim. It's a game of credibility now. Every witness must walk the tightrope between truth and exposure, and the tension? Palpable. Each word feels like it's loaded with consequences, and the audience can tell. This isn't just legal strategy. It's survival.
When this happened, Judge, this is a time in Jennifer's life when she wasn't proud of the decision she made. I think people do and say lots of things that they wish they had back in a breakup situation. I know that she's embarrassed. I know that it's affected her. But from accepting this plea agreement and speaking to this court, and beyond that, her conduct since then, I think speaks volumes about who she is going to become as a result of putting herself in a really tough situation. I know that she's been working on her mental health. I think that is evident. I also know that she's been on bond, has not had any other incidents that I'm aware of while she's been on bond. It's been quite some time since we've been back here, several months, in fact, Judge. So I would ask the court to consider the letters of recommendation. I think, again, the recommendation is appropriate. I would ask the court to follow that. And part of it, too, Judge, is that there's a rather lengthy term of probation, which the court's going to impose. And that is yet another opportunity for Jen to not just tell you who she is, but prove who she's become and that she isn't the person that at least in this incident, she appeared to be on paper. So I would ask that the court follow the recommendation. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Plumhoff, have you had the opportunity to read the report and discuss it with Mr. Shepard?
I have, Your Honor.
Do you have any additions, corrections, or challenges?
I do not.
Anything that you want to say on your own behalf?
Well, I would like to start by apologizing to Nicholas for the hurt and disruption that I caused in his life. A
key witness steps up, confident at first, but soon stumbling under pressure. The cross-examination begins, and suddenly the courtroom shifts. Voices rise, objections fly, and even the judge's patience starts to thin. You can almost feel the energy crackling in the room. It's the kind of testimony that decides outcomes, either redemption or total collapse. But here's the twist. What's not being said might be more important than what's spoken aloud.
I'm not proud of getting to a point where I would hurt somebody that I loved the way that I did him, for breaking our vows and ruining our marriage. I hurt a lot of people that day, that when I chose to make the decision that I did, I hurt a lot of people. And I am truly embarrassed about that and very sorry. Like he said, I'm not proud of what I did. I am proud of the person that I've become because of these things. Being able to turn my life around and turn to faith and get back on the right track. I've worked really, really hard through my therapy, my group therapy, with my church family, just being able to help the community more, things like that. I don't think that these are things that I would have been doing hadn't something like this happened. As awful as it may sound to say, I feel like me hitting rock bottom is something that
The
needed to
judge
happen.
interjects, cutting through the chaos. She's not here for performance. She wants facts. The attorneys scramble to adjust, trying to frame the narrative in their favor. But with one line, she redirects the case entirely. Suddenly, the issue isn't just who's right. It's about procedure, timing, and evidence integrity. That's where so many cases fall apart. It's a reminder that in law, truth isn't enough. You need to prove it properly.
Something that needed to happen to become who I am. And I'm truly sorry for all of it.
I think Mr. Swanson had a couple of comments too, if the court would allow.
All right,
Thank you. I've talked to Ms. Blumhoff quite a bit as well. She has been acknowledging her actions. She owned her actions from everything and every person I've talked to so far in reference to it. She owned it to this court as well. We would point out to the court that Ms. Blumhoff, with her consent, she's giving me the permission to tell the court that she now faces some pretty significant medical conditions. That she's facing a treatment for potentially breast cancer at this point, and her next appointment is scheduled for October 28th. And she does have further follow-up care after that that's going to be required. So she's asking the court to consider that. We're looking at sentencing here today and consider not imposing a jail sentence given those circumstances, which are unusual, of that recent diagnosis. We got the documentation from her doctor here today for the court. The court wanted that documentation as well. She did receive a lot of amazing recommendations from the community. So we asked the court to consider that. We're looking at sentencing here today.
all right, Ms. Robinson, any additions, corrections, or challenges?
Your Honor, people had OV-19 scored at 10 points. I believe that the conduct here would amount to interfering or attempting to interfere with the administration of justice. My understanding, the case law does support that conduct can happen before criminal charges are issued as well.
Just when things seem settled, a new document surfaces, one that changes everything. The prosecution's confidence wavers as the defense seizes the opportunity. The judge's eyebrows lift slightly. She knows this could be pivotal. The courtroom grows silent. Every spectator, every camera is fixed on the paper that just hit the table. And right here we see it, that unpredictable moment where a trial turns. One exhibit, one overlooked detail, and suddenly the balance of justice tilts.
Issued as well. It's not like it has to be a fight afterwards. That is the only difference that I saw that I thought needed to be noticed.
Shepherd, Mr. Swanson, want to reply to that?
Sure, Judge. I tend to agree with the scoring that was done by the Department of Corrections. I see that OV-19 was a 0. I think that's, I wouldn't know why that would change, Your Honor. I certainly understand the question and the context around the question. But from my perspective, I think that the scoring that is appended to the PSI and the recommendation, I think that's fine.
All right, while I look something up on that, I would turn to you, Mr. Zero. See the recommendation in the report. Says for 1 day jail, 1 day credit. Is that your recommendation or is that Lansing's recommendation?
My recommendation was consistent with the plea agreement, which was a cap at the midpoint of the guidelines, and I recommended 150 days jail.
All right, so the court is going to leave offense variable 19 scored at 0. I was looking at the criminal sentencing bench book, and although I do note that there are
Now the
things that
human
can
side
happen
emerges.
pre-charge
You can hear the strain in the
that could-
voices,
could,
anger,
reflect
frustration,
the-
even regret. The case stops being about facts and starts being about people. Faces show fatigue, hands tremble slightly. The emotional truth hits harder than any legal argument could. And that's what the best judges understand. Behind every case file is a story of choices, mistakes, and consequences. This courtroom isn't just deciding guilt. It's weighing humanity itself.
Could reflect the interference of justice. But I didn't find a case that reflected where essentially trying to frame someone for a crime would be impacting the ability of the police to investigate the situation. It's not tampering with witnesses. It's not the sort of pre-charge conduct that court has seen that other cases have scored 10 points at. So the court's going to deny that request.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so with that,
Your Honor, I apologize. Can I make a
oh,
statement?
sorry.
Your Honor, we would ask that the court follow along with the plea agreement in this case and allow that plea to stand and sentencing to go forward today. Nicholas Plumhoff is the victim in this case. He is present in the courtroom today and he would like to make a statement.
Oh, good. Mr. Plummer, would you come forward, please? Or Nicholas Plummer, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, now's your opportunity, sir.
So it's been a long time. I've been trying to think what I wanted to say when we finally got to this point. And it's just so much more to me than just like trying
The
to get
defense
me in
regains composure, methodically piecing together a final argument. Calm, structured, almost surgical. They remind the court of what's not proven and how assumption doesn't equal evidence. It's the classic defense move, shift doubt into focus. But even the most eloquent closing can't erase earlier damage. The question is, will the judge see their logic or their desperation? Because at this point, the verdict will hinge on how believable they sound, not just what's written
just,
in law.
like, trying to get me in trouble. Over the last 5 years, I have worked so hard to get out of the things that I was doing that put me in prison. And for, going back and spending weeks looking at all the messages that went back and forth and how malicious it was. I had one day and made one bad decision. She did this for weeks and weeks. I've read the messages. And for her to say the only thing he cares about is this job at the recovery center and I want to take it from him. I worked so hard to get away from my background, to have a job where I could help people and make a difference and not be another statistic and not end up back in prison or on the streets. And to just think that someone that said they loved me could just say, or even, I could see her saying it, but weeks and weeks of pushing it, messaging him, well, she was at my house, now's the time to do it. I know where his car's at now. Like, I don't understand. I know what it's like to need to get incarcerated. If I wouldn't have went to prison, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't have taken the time to get the help that I needed, And I don't think one day in jail is ever going to stop her from doing this to someone else. If it wouldn't have happened the way it would, I might not be here right now.
Now the prosecution takes the floor, and they're not holding back. It's fiery, deliberate, and filled with precision. They go line by line, dismantling the defense's narrative. Every inconsistency becomes a weapon. You can almost sense the audience leaning forward, hanging on every word. It's courtroom chess, and the prosecution just moved their queen. The confidence radiates, but in court, confidence can be dangerous, because overreach can cost everything.
I might be back in prison. I might have ruined my career. I might have lost everything, and no one would have believed me. No one. If it wasn't for the one that turned in the messages and having them documented, no one would have ever known, and I would have been gone. And that's not fair. It's not right that to just try to take someone's life into your hands and throw it away because you had a bad day. I would understand if I treated her poorly, if I put my hands on her, if I was mean to the children, none of that effort. And to have someone just want to hurt me like that, I can't imagine being that broken of a soul to want to hurt someone that bad. What's the worst part is I don't hate her. I just want her to get help. For her, for the kids, for whoever she comes in contact in the future. Because the person who did that, she's not where she needs to be. One thing that I guess it probably doesn't matter because it wasn't reported, but just not even a month ago, she was at a restaurant and ran into my niece and threatened to beat her ass in the middle of the restaurant with her children there, in front of everybody. So whatever gains and progress that she's made, she's not where she needs to be yet. And I hope that you guys can help her do that.
So a couple of questions for you, sir. How did you meet Ms. Plumhoff?
We met through my little sister. They were acquaintances.
Okay. I only have a little bit of the police report.
All eyes are on the
How-
bench. The judge pauses, a deliberate silence that feels like an eternity. Then she begins her decision. Her tone is measured but firm, cutting through every argument with clarity. You can tell she's weighed not just the facts, but the intent behind them. Her final words echo through the courtroom. Concise, direct, unshakable. Verdict delivered. Some faces fall, others finally exhale. Justice, as always, doesn't please everyone, but it lands where it must.
Police report. How do you know how Ms. Plumhoff came in contact with the person that was incarcerated that she wanted to set you up? Do you know how she knew that individual?
The way it was explained to me is when me and her got together, she was in a relationship with that person. And when me and her made it official or whatever, she broke it off with him because he's in prison. What is he going to do? You know, all she has to do is not answer the phone. So that was her boyfriend, I guess, up until I had got with her. I just want to thank the court for whatever it is they're going to do. And hopefully I'll have a peace of mind for a little while because obviously I'm a mess. Like I literally moved 3 hours away to not have to worry about running into her at a store or anywhere, you know what I mean? Because of, I don't know. I worked in Nuevo for a little while in one of the recovery centers that was up here, and going through a drive-through, I had a girl let me know that she was still trying to mess with me and that this was my number and this is where I lived. And so I just don't want to have to worry anymore. I'm a grown man. I shouldn't be crying over what this woman could do to me.
Thank you, sir.
As the courtroom empties, reflection takes over. Another case closed, another story of law, emotion, and truth colliding. It's moments like these that remind us why every courtroom matters, not for the drama, but for the decisions that shape real lives. Whether justice was served is up for debate, but one thing's clear, this verdict will echo long after the cameras stop rolling. What did you think? Was the judge fair, or did emotion sway the outcome? Drop your thoughts below, hit like, and subscribe for more gripping courtroom breakdowns, where every verdict tells a story.